Hey guys, Yankee here, and today I'm going to be giving my thoughts on Digimon Ghost Game episodes 50 and 51. It has been a long time since I watched an episode of Digimon Ghost Game, like over a year, I think. So I know it's an episodic show, and I was kind of interested to see like, how jumping back into it, like almost at the end of the show, would feel. And it does the episodic thing great, where I really fell right back into it. There wasn't like a whole lot of stuff that I feel like I'm forgetting, and the opening song I sat through and watched did a good job of reminding me sort of like where everybody's at in terms of evolutions. I couldn't remember if we were at ultimate levels or mega levels. Opening theme goes through up to ultimates, so I assume we haven't gotten any megas yet. But yeah, the opening song really helped me sort of catch me up, and the episodic nature made picking up a random episode here really easy. So I'm grateful for that. So let's get into the actual episodes now. Episode 50 is called Payback. It opens with us being introduced to a classmate of Hiro and Kyoshiro, and his name is Riku. He is hanging out with some of his friends from another town. He has moved to wherever Digimon Ghost Game takes place. I don't know if it's ever said, and I don't remember. And he hasn't really made any friends yet. And so he's hanging out with his friends. They have to leave. He's kind of bummed about that. And off in the distance, there is a Puchimon watching him. And that Puchimon's name, it just calls itself Puchi, and it like sneaks into Riku's dorm room and introduced itself. It said it's lonely too. I don't think it said that to Riku, but when Riku was watching it with his friends, like, hey, I'm lonely. And so it's like, hey, I'm lonely, this guy's lonely, I'm going to be friends with him. And Puchi has this thing where she really wants Riku to give back whatever she gives. So if Puchi hugs Riku, it wants Riku to hug her back. And that's sort of the, horror element of this, where you have this creature basically like, here, I'll give you this. Now you give me the same thing back, or you do the same thing. But this thing is a Digimon, so there's things that Riku just can't do. There's a moment where Riku bumps into another student in the laundry room of the dorm, and he knocks the kid's clothes out of his hands, and he steps on this nice, clean shirt. And the kid's mad, but Puchi has an attack, I don't remember what it's called, I didn't write the name of it down, that basically lets Puchi and Riku see the way this person would want Riku to apologize. And so Riku steps on this guy's shirt, Puchi shows him how to apologize, Riku sees it, it's like, alright, sorry, I bumped into you, you're upset that your clothes that you just cleaned are now dirty, I'll throw them in with mine, it'll be fine. And the guy's like, no problem, I bumped into you too, it's not a big deal, and then goes about his business. And Puchi wants Riku to reciprocate this, but Riku can't, he's a human, he doesn't have those kinds of abilities. And so Puchi's like, alright, you didn't give back this time, I'm gonna remember it, you gotta do it in the future. And so there's this count where, like, every time Riku is unable to give back, Puchi keeps upping the count. Eventually, Puchi and Riku are hanging out, and Puchi's just like, me and you are good friends, I love you, Riku, I love you so much, I'm gonna Digivolve. And so Puchimon digivolves into May Crackmon, which scares not only Riku, but everybody in the dorm. Everybody in the dorm in this has just become accustomed to Hiro and Kyoshiro and their little AI holograms running around, that when Riku got one, like, nobody really batted an eye, they just sort of like, oh, this is a new one, let's see what it is. And there was this moment where I thought this was what the episode was going to focus a bit on, where Riku gets Puchimon as a friend, and they're hanging out, and all the students in the dorm are like, oh, Riku, like, coming up to him and asking him about it, and it's like, alright, he's kind of getting friends through this. And then when Puchimon evolves into May Crackmon, everyone's kind of afraid and keeping distance at the start. And then there's things that were cute when May, after developed to May Crackmon, starts going by May. Things that were cute when May was a Pokemon, like feeding each other, becomes a bit weird when it's a giant furry with boobs. So, like, there's a moment where, like, again, May Crackmon is feeding Riku. It's like, alright, I've got the spoon, open up. Alright, now feed me. And he just refuses because it's embarrassing in front of all the other kids in the dorm. And May is just racking up the count. And eventually this boils over where May just kind of snaps. It's like, look, I keep doing things for you, you're not doing them back for me. And is like twisting, like grabbing his hands, like, look, I have these big claws, I'm going to give you claws so you can do things like me. Because you've said, like, some of the things I do are impossible, like your ears aren't right, I'll stretch them out so they're my shape. Riku is obviously not a fan of this and runs off, and May begins chasing after him. The hero and Kyoshiro, they step in, bring them to a digital field, and, like, this is the part of the episode where I just kind of feel bad, where, okay, May has been brought to, like, the digital field, there's no other humans there, and is just desperately searching for Riku, and eventually she sort of figures it out. It's like, alright, there's no other people here except for Hiro, Kyoshiro. They have to have done this, I'll go attack them. There's a little fight, and, what is it, Thetismon, I think is Jellymon's ultimate evolution, basically sets May down. Is like, look, you want him to constantly do the things that you do, he can't. Digimon and humans are different, he's not going to be able to do everything. And May goes back to the real world, goes after Riku, who is now horrified of her, which, you know, fair. She just tried to, like, modify you by, like, stretching your ears out and, like, changing your hands and stuff. And May just sort of blows up, says, you know what, Riku, I hate you, we can't be friends anymore, go make real friends, and takes off. And that's that. This episode wasn't very scary. Some of these episodes in Ghost Game are, like, they do the horror really well. Like, the misunderstanding stuff, like, that's in this episode, that's a big part of this show. But I think this is, like, I just feel bad, because, like, Riku's kind of got friends now, like, he's close with Hiro and Kyoshiro, that's cool. May is just gone, which is, again, I just feel bad at the end of this episode, more so than it's like, alright, that wrapped up nice. So yeah, it's not, like, the worst ending, like, May getting, like, obliterated probably would have been worse, but, like, especially when May is just searching all over for Riku, like, panicking, freaking out. It's like, yeah, May was going to, like, again, stretch his ears out, try and give him claws, but it didn't care about him. It was just another misunderstanding episode, and, like, yeah, I just felt bad at the end. Episode 51 is called Headless. It opens up, girl gets dropped off and is, like, walking somewhere, and a suit of armor with no head approaches her, asking for its head. And then the girl gets attacked. Then we cut to Hiro in bed, and Gamamon in bed, and Black Tailmon, what is his name? Black Tailmon Uver, right? Gives Gamamon a delivery. And then Hiro, along with this delivery, they meet up with all the characters here. He starts sort of handing them out. Hiro's dad, like, has, like, a little, I don't know if it's a hologram message or if he's, like, directly talking to them now. But he's, like, introducing himself to Ruri and Kyoshiro and giving them new items. They get, like, new fields. The one we see at the start of this is, like, in the clouds, and then later on I think we see another new one, which is, like, a, like, I don't really remember what it was, but it was kind of, like, it feels like, I don't know how to describe it, like an inside a pyramid, like that kind of setting, where it's, like, just stone walls and stuff. So anyway, he gives everybody, like, new chips, and we sort of drop that for now, and we move on. Meanwhile, this headless knights are continuing to just attack people. We get the girl at the start, she gets attacked, and then we see a guy getting attacked by, like, a suit of armor with that girl's voice. And then we see another student get attacked, and then eventually we see Kyoshiro get attacked. And so all these people are getting their heads cut off, but not really. So their bodies have like this red line across their neck, and they're not waking up. And like, I guess it would be like their spirits or their souls are now these headless suits of armor looking for their heads. Eventually, Hiro's classmate, I don't remember his name, but he's been here since episode 1, basically tells Hiro, it's like, wow, I wonder why Kyoshiro got attacked. All the other people that got attacked were part of the history club. And so Hiro starts investigating that. He meets Okonogi Sensei, who is a part, like, runs the history club, I guess. And he kind of tries to get away from Hiro as fast as he can as soon as he starts talking about the subject, and he brings up a Dullahan, which is like a headless knight. Eventually, there was a Gatsumon who saw one of the attacks, who told Clockmon, and Ruri, who was there with everybody, looks up a picture of a Dullahan to show Gatsumon's like, is this what they looked like? And Hiro makes the connection that the teacher brought up the Dullahan, so they go back to him, where the teacher informs him that he found like a weird helmet. And all the kids that had been attacked, including Kyoshiro, were there when him and all those students were looking at the helmet. So they go to school to get the helmet, and we are shown like a Digimon's helmet, and the Digimon in question of this episode is Dark Nightmon. At the end of the episode, we explain how his head got cut off. So I'm going to jump to that, though, because it's ridiculous. This guy was in the digital world, a portal to the real world opened, and he, like, poked his head out to give it a look around, and it just closed and cut his head off. And so, eventually, he gets to the real world himself, and it's just looking for his head. Eventually, he's given it by Hiro. Hiro makes a deal. It's like, hey, you want your head back? You gotta let everybody go. And he's like, cool, I'll do that. Frees everybody, gets his head back, and then he gets like a flash of all the memories of what his head has been up to since they've been separated, where it's like somebody finds it and like tosses it in the trash or something, and then like some guy's like working in like a rice field and he finds it in the dirt. It gets auctioned off, and then eventually it ends up in the classroom. And Dark Nightmon, upset about this, says like his knightly honor has been tarnished. Just starts fighting Hiro and stuff. He's like, alright, I want to cut your heads off for real. That's how upset I am. So we get a fight. Some of the chips that Hiro's father gave them earlier in the episode, like, they don't use them, but they're all color-coded, and there's a point where after Gamamon and Goromon, they were defeated, they're on the ground. They just de-digivolved from champion back to rookie. Gamamon's there, it's like, I can still fight, and like the bar on the Digivice fills up, and then everybody's Digivice changes. So Hiro gets I think it's got a new Digivice with a red band. I don't remember what the other one's colors are, but what is it called? The Digimon Vital Bracelet BE, right? I assume that's to coincide with that. So everybody gets new Digivices, and one really cool thing, which I hadn't even noticed was a thing until just now, Warp Digivolution didn't exist, apparently. Like, I hadn't really thought about it. I just assumed, like, alright, we got a Digimon, we'll evolve the champions, try and fight. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, we'll go to Ultimates. That just seemed natural in the show and in the episodes. Whereas in this, it's like, hey, now you can just Warp Digivolve. Gamamon can just evolve into Canon Weissmon now, which is useful. But again, I hadn't even realized that wasn't a thing until now. And then also, I think maybe Canon Weissmon used an attack. I'm not confident about this because, again, it's been like over a year since I watched this. But the attack didn't look like one that I've seen before. But again, I could be wrong about that. And then eventually, Canon Weissmon bests Dark Nightmon, kind of. He just sort of breaks his armor. He doesn't like actually defeat him or anything. But they sort of call it a win. It's like, alright, you bested me. I'm gonna get out of here. And so Dark Nightmon takes off. He's one of the people that, like, sometimes these Digimon really mess people up, and then they get off scot-free, where it's like, yeah, Dark Nightmon was, like, putting people in comas, I guess, but it wasn't too bad. He was just kind of scaring them with the headless knight thing, and he was looking for his head, so not that bad. But yeah, those are episodes 50 and 51. I'm glad to get back to this show. I really enjoyed it when I was watching it, and it's been a while. And yeah, it's just fun. Like, when this show was coming out, I was really in the mood for something episodic, and it really filled that gap. And coming back to it now, it's like, yeah, I like being able to just every once in a while sit down and watch a show where you don't have to worry about what's going on with the overarching plot every episode. Like, I can just sit down, grab an episode a year after I watch the last one, know exactly what's happening, and just enjoy it. So yeah, Digimon Ghost Game, episodes 50 and 51, really fun. The first one, pretty good, made me feel bad. Second one, just fun, and did the horror stuff a bit better. Like, it felt more horror-y than the first one. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Digimon Ghost Game episodes 50 and 51. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.